So a lot of people ask me how they actually knew which ones of us were psychic or like had possible psychic abilities in the GATE program. And I do have actually a pretty clear answer on that that I'm pretty certain of. So according to this book, which everybody should read, there is something called the personality assessment system. And I have had trouble finding anything like specifically on that. There's just not a whole lot out there other than one CAA document that I found that talks about it being basically the same thing as the Wechsler intelligence test, and I'll get to that in a second. So what this does is it basically groups us with three letters. And it's kind of like Myers-Briggs. So it'll be either IE for basically introverted, extroverted, and then regulated or flexible, and then role adaptive or role uniform. So I'll probably do another video like actually getting into those things. But so initially, you have a couple of different categories there. I want to say like 9 or 12 different categories that you can have. And then there are, then they can further change you into different splits based on that. And I want to say it was like 160 or 164 total different personalities that they can make, because there's like another category to it too. And again, I haven't been able to really find a whole lot on this. I would love to dive into this as much as there is because there's a lot of information on the Myers-Briggs, for example, but there's just not a lot of this. So back to how they actually tested us or figured out who had this. So they did a study using the Wechsler intelligence test, and I want to say there's like 5 categories with that. So depending on how people scored on that and what personality they fit into, they did a study determining which of those personality types are more likely to be able to remote view. And so for those who can remote view, or for when they took those tests, they looked for that personality type or those personality types that were most likely to be able to remote view, and that was how they got it into the public schools without really any question. So those were those scores where like our parents, we got sent home with a letter saying we were in the 97th percentile or the 99th percentile, and that was based on that Wechsler style intelligence testing. And they usually maybe they set it as like the state testing or whatever. I know that they did for us. So that is how they figured out which of us that they wanted to select.